This is the most secure shelter because it is built under a 10,000-ton boulder. The interior space is not only very spacious, but also has a warm fireplace providing heat. By the way, guess if your right foot is resting on your left foot and your phone battery is around 60%. If I guessed right, then it's correct. If not, it must be your fault. Without further ado, let's begin today's sleep aid moment. Backpacker Luca, along with his sister-in-law, was exploring the mountains as usual when two massive rocks caught her attention. Guided by her, Luca went to check them out and immediately decided to spend the night there. However, the space inside the rocks was not enough to accommodate even one person. In the biting cold wind, a thick layer of icicles covered the rocks. In such extremely cold conditions, to get through the night smoothly, they needed to quickly build a shelter. Luca took off his coat to move more freely and assembled the portable shovel to clear the snow at the entrance. At this moment, the space inside the cave was revealed, showing that it was covered with rubble. Without a word, Luca picked up the shovel and began digging. The cold weather had made the surface soil very hard, making the digging work extremely difficult. But in order to survive in the snowy mountains, Luca had to dig with all his might. After persistent effort, Luca finally dug out a pit over half a meter deep. At this moment, heavy snow began to fall outside, making Luca feel quite cold. To ensure the construction could proceed smoothly, he collected some flammable dry branches and then gathered a lot of firewood. After bringing them back to the camp, he first sorted the firewood, scraped off some wood shavings, and used a flint to ignite them, quickly adding the dry branches, successfully lighting the campfire. Now, with the warm campfire, Luca can continue with the construction. After completing the expansion of the interior space, he uses the shovel to clear the snow at the entrance. Dug an entrance passage for the shelter. After a long time of digging, Luca was already feeling very hungry. He sharpened a few branches and skewered some treasured pork belly. At this moment, the indoor bonfire had already burned into charcoal. He cleared out the charcoal residue, placed the skewers on top to grill, and the high heat from the glowing charcoal soon had the skewers sizzling with oil, filling the entire cave with a delicious aroma. Looking at the crispy and tender skewers, Luca began to feast heartily. Of course, he couldn't forget his sister-in-law with such a delicacy. After replenishing his energy, he went nearby to collect firewood. In order to gather enough fuel to get through the night smoothly, he had to collect it despite the heavy snow. These pieces of wood are his only hope. Then, he piled up a stone wall at the entrance. With limited materials on the snowy mountain, he could only piece together a simple door frame and cover it with an ancestral bedsheet as a door. Although this door was crude, it could shield him from the cold wind at night. The props team couldn't bear it, and secretly gave Luca some wooden boards so he could have a small bed to keep out the dampness. As night fell, the snowy mountain was eerily silent, with only the sound of footsteps echoing. The 5-meter visibility made Luca hesitant to explore further, so he had to return to the shelter with his sister-in-law. The next morning, the entire mountain area was covered in a blanket of white. Luca took a kettle, found a clean patch of ground, filled it with snow, and boiled water to warm himself up. Feeling gradually warmer, he began to pack his belongings, quickly gathering his items, and set off on a new journey with his sister-in-law.